Hello viewers, good morning and good evening to everybody. Uh, this video has been recorded as a part of expert talk program run by ABN Finsights Academy, Melbourne, Australia. As you know, my name is Arfan. I am the FCA, Chartered Accountant by profession, based in Melbourne, Australia, and I am Executive Coach for Marshall Goldsmith, USA. Today's topic is IFRS 17 insurance contract especially. We have a very seasoned guest. His name is Mr. Faisal Zai, based in UK. He's an expert on the IFRS 17 implementation and the training and development program. Now let's go to the Faisal. Faisal, welcome to the show.
Hi. Hello. Good evening. And thanks for having me here. So, with IFRS 17, as just starting off, it's basically one of the most complicated things I've done as an actuary. So, I would like to take that tag off immediately. There's no experts in this market or in this, even probably at a global level, because it's such a new standard and people are still getting used to it. So, just with that caveat, we'll start.
So can you give us a background, Faisal? What exactly your credentials, especially? I know you are based in UK, London, and you are involved in the insurance industry for the last 20 years. So can you please give us some background about your professional career and the journey so audience will get to know exactly who's Faisal Zai?
Okay, so let me start with my academic qualification. So I have a bachelor's from the London School of Economics and I have master's from Oxford University. And the master's was applied maths and applied statistics. And following that, I basically moved into the actuarial space, qualified almost 20 years ago. And I qualified in Pakistan, so with the Institute of Actuaries in the UK, Institute and Faculty of Actuaries in the UK. I trained in Pakistan, and because of that experience in Pakistan, I have my experience split out not just in Asia, Pakistan, but also in the UK. And in the UK, I've basically worked with some EU exposure as well, including France, for example. So in terms of experience, I've worked in a number of it straddles both insurance and banking. But I think for the time being, because this is more about IFRS 17, I will talk more about my IFRS 17 experience, which basically started in 2017 when the standard came out first. And at the time, I was in Pakistan working for a local consultancy called Akhtar and Hassan at the time, and we were developing our IFRS 17 proposal for the market. That included training people, bringing staff, creating awareness. And following that, over the last 2.5 years, I've worked with a number of companies, large companies in the UK, which have international exposure on IFRS 17, and also with companies in the Middle East, specifically Saudi Arabia. And apart from that, interestingly, I've been part of the working group in Pakistan for IFRS 17, which looks at combining the ICAP and ACCP and bringing on the actual expertise there. So yeah, over the last 2.5 years, almost going 3 years now, it is mostly IFRS 17, which is I think why we're talking about this right now.
Yep. Thank you very much, Faisal. I mean, you have a huge experience as far as the IFRS 17 and the insurance industry is concerned. So now let's go back to the basic question. What is IFRS 17 is all about?
Okay, so IFRS 17 is a massive change in the way insurance businesses are run. So IFRS 17 is a standard. The standard took about 20 years in the making, and it's the need for it is because there's a lot of inconsistency in terms of accounting standards and the way the insurance business reports to the market around the globe. So they spent 20 years coming up with the standard, and what it does is it harmonizes the presentations and disclosures and the financial statements for insurers across the world. I don't think the US and Japan are definitely not taking this on, but they have the US is a similar standard which they are looking to adopt, or I think probably close to it already. So IFRS 17 is a massive change, essentially, in a nutshell, which basically harmonizes the reporting of insurance business across the world.
So thank you very much. I can understand that one, in a very short span in time to cover IFRS 17. It's not so easy. I just want to touch base the subject. I can understand that one. So Faisal, so what's the deadline to get this IFRS changes implemented as far as the industry is concerned? Is there a specific deadline?
Yeah. Yes, so there's a deadline now. And basically in June this year, June 2020, the IASB finalized the standard, and the implementation date is 1st January 2023. Now, some countries will obviously delay the application or implementation to post 1st Jan 2023, but for most developed markets, and definitely a lot of even developing markets, for example, in the Middle East, Malaysia, for example, they have said that they will adopt 1st January 2023.
Okay, fair enough. So what's happening in the industry? I mean, what kind of options they have? Is it a training and development program or consultancy? What's your insight is all about in the industry? Because I know that one, because of COVID-19, there are lots of disruption is in place, all over the world. So how does it impact if the companies, especially in the insurance industry, they are non-compliant and there is no skill set or there is no proper knowledge available in the market? So what's happening around in the industry?
So it's basically you're right. COVID-19 has disrupted the process or the implementation to a certain extent, but a lot of the insurers, especially in the UK and even in the EU, started a couple of years ago. So they're ahead of many places in the world. I think Saudi Arabia as well started early, so they are ahead of the pack. But let's step back in terms of understanding what IFRS 17 will actually impact. So the first thing is obviously, because IFRS 17 is global standard, it will get implemented. It's meant to be implemented simultaneously in multiple jurisdictions. Now, what's that done is it's created a demand gap, demand shortage, with expertise focused mainly in the Big Four, and even in the Big Four, it's completely stretched based on my experience with working with these consultants in the UK market. So that's one of the major things, and because of that, it's slowed down the implementation, and it's created this gap, which basically means that the senior management can't just rely on external consultants anymore. They have to develop internal expertise to help on with the IFRS 17 implementation. So the first issue is basically training your senior management, because a lot of the technical methodological decisions which will be reported finally on your financial statements, those decisions need to be taken and adopted by the senior management. So the first issue, I think, is having the senior management getting the right training to be able to equip them with making the right decisions. So I think that's the first thing that I've seen happen. The first thing that happens is senior management gets trained. There's a project management group, a project steering committee set up at a very high level, which oversees the implementation. And because the implementation is so, it has such a huge impact, because these are the numbers that get reported to the stakeholders, financial markets. The auditors need to step in because they will be signing off financial statements. So you have to, the senior management has to get on board external consultants, actuaries, internal senior managers, and external stakeholders like auditors and even regulators. So it's a whole. It's not easy, and which is why this needs to be planned really early on, and the plan needs to be very, very detailed. So that's where it starts, and after that you have issues with because IFRS 17 requires a lot of data. So not just current data, but historical data in terms of implementation. So data and systems is one huge thing, which I think most of the cost for IFRS 17 implementation, if I'm not wrong, it will be devoted to data and IT systems. Apart from that, you have to get your technical people, actuaries, underwriters, accountants, IT personnel to start talking the same language, because IFRS 17 requires that. So that's another challenge. So the list of challenges goes on, but I think these are the biggest challenges out there at the moment.
Based on your experience, Faisal, I can understand the way it sounds. It's a huge place, a huge turnaround, it's a huge implementation process in place. Of course, insurance company they used to be at a bigger organization. What do you think? I mean, does this have any impact on the digital transformation also? For example, the companies might need to upgrade their system as well.
Yes. So for example, I mean, in the UK, what we've seen is that insurance companies, because they've been around for so long, that they have legacy systems which could not adapt to IFRS 17 requirements. So what they've done is they basically have combined the IFRS 17 build-up for IT processes with a digital transformation. So I think a lot of companies, what they're doing, certainly the ones that I've worked with, is they're trying to combine the two and make IFRS 17 the implementation create more value for the business, because digitalization, as we all know, it is the way forward. So it is an issue which is definitely I mean, it's impacting not just developed markets, the IT process digitalization, but also a lot of smart insurance managers, executives have taken this thing on board, even in less developed markets.
Okay, Faisal, thank you very much. Faisal, just a quick one before we sign up for the session. What's your, I mean, how do you see, or what's your top 3 advice if you like to give an advice to the industry which are involved in the insurance profession? What is your advice on that?
So my advice is
IFRS 17 is concerned, I mean.
So after 17, I think a lot of people have had the tendency to shut their eyes and think that this will go away, but this is not going to go away, obviously. And once you have someone, I mean, once this becomes a standard and it's required, it has to be implemented for any serious insurer that needs to raise finance in the financial markets. So the first thing I think that insurance company managers and senior personnel and stakeholders need to do is basically educate themselves if they haven't already done that. There's a lot of material around, and sometimes it's not just enough to read generic material. So you have to have maybe one-to-one trainings because every company is run differently and the KPIs and the strategies are different in different companies. So if you want, I think that's the first thing that I would advise: get yourself trained and up to date on what the requirements are for the standard and how it will impact your business. The second thing is have a project steering committee set up with the right amount of budget and have it planned to a level of detail which looks at maybe to the next 3 to 5 years in terms of not just implementation, but the whole process of what do we get out of IFRS 17. And the third thing is obviously get your people. So it's not just senior managers that they need to get trained. They need to have specific trained skill set internally, in addition to the external consultants. So it's, I mean, if IFRS 17 implementation depends critically, I think, on these 2 or 3 issues. Otherwise, there will be a lot of tearing your existing work, throwing it away, and then restarting, which will cost a lot.
Okay, all right. Okay, fine. Thank you very much, Faisal. We are just trying to sign up. Your time is over now. Thank you very much. I definitely will touch base with you again, and we really appreciate you spare your time with us. Thank you very much, Faisal.
Thank you. Thank you.
Viewers, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do share and watch this video. Thank you very much. Good night, everybody.